People who have watched your videos often ask where they could find Kriya Yoga techniques. Other questions are, 42 Kriyas, what is it? What should I start with? Should I read anything first? Can I find an online version of these techniques? If a person can't read, he can come to a seminar and get all the knowledge there. If he has finished school and is able to read, he can start with the Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, or with The Holy Science by Sri Yukteswar Giri. He can also read any book where there is some information about Kriya Yoga. There is a good book which inspired lots of people, Babaji and the 18 Siddha Kriya Yoga tradition, by Marshal Govindan. All of these books are good, as they give the chance to learn something about Kriya Yoga theory. But a real introduction into Kriya theory and techniques takes place at a seminar. At a seminar, Master doesn't only give certain techniques in their literal form. He works at very fine levels, the structure of which needs transformation. Sound and reliable masters work at the level of energy and information. There is such a phenomenon as a transplantation of knowledge. It's direct transfer and acquisition. Sometimes people come to a seminar and say that they know a lot already. But, in fact, this is not necessarily so. These people might have heard something, but they don't really know. Real knowledge is personal experience, a feeling which leads a person to a new level of awareness. So, if a person hasn't attended a seminar, online learning is impossible for him. If, however, online learning takes place, the consciousness and mind of this person will be fixed only on techniques, and this won't result in quick development. Even simple actions in Kriya involve profound meaning and deep feelings. The work takes place at a few levels: physical, including kinetic; emotional, astral; intellectual, mental, and spiritual. Kriya can be Kriya only if all the levels of consciousness are included in one action. If you have seen 42 Kriyas online, you can learn them as any other exercise. But to understand their inner structure and essence, you should come to a seminar. 42 Kriyas aren't ordinary exercises, as they are connected with psychological and psycho-emotional aspects. If you want to develop quickly and deeply, it is important to learn Kriya from the Master, because such learning is connected with energy, and it is energy that changes everything from within. You can certainly learn 42 Kriyas as ordinary exercises, having seen them online, having heard or read about them. You will do these exercises over the years, but they won't work properly. So, if we are practicing Kriya without an initiation given at a seminar, does this mean that our work slows off? Can such work disserve us? It is unlikely that such work can do harm to people, but it becomes slower because a person who hasn't got an initiation doesn't have keys to deep knowledge. It's impossible to find such keys anywhere. They are given to a person in a direct way. Sometimes people don't have the opportunity to attend an upcoming seminar. What should they start with? How should they work? How can they get to a seminar? First of all, a person should take a closer look at this subject and understand what Kriya Yoga is. To understand what he is going to be engaged in and what he is aiming at, a person should get some information on the subject and read books, primarily books of Paramahansa Yogananda. Then he can make a decision if he needs this or not. Yet, if they want to get some knowledge beforehand, they can contact those who have already attended a seminar and ask them about their experiences. Though this can lead to a stereotyped thinking, a person can be inspired. There isn't anyone today who has complained about Kriya Yoga seminars. People leave a seminar with a thought that mentally they've become gods, in the sense that they know how to find salvation. They know that there is a chance. So, first of all, information. Then, the internality, the attitude of mind and understanding what Kriya Yoga is. And finally, making a decision if you need it or not. A person should make a decision himself. If he has made such a decision, space will work so that this person could get to a seminar. And what happens after a seminar? How does the person's life change? I know that some people express fear about changes and transformations happening afterwards. People often ask themselves if they are ready for such changes in their lives, if they are prepared for spiritual life. With Kriya Yoga or without it, changes and transformations take place in people's lives. One's life can implode and go all to rack and ruin. Such changes lead to transformations, which lift a person to a higher level. A person starts thinking, I should quit my attachments to the past. Moreover, I shouldn't be attached to anything at all. I must develop myself. So, transformations aren't connected with Kriya Yoga, so as with yoga on the whole. By no means, people who practice yoga, especially Kriya Yoga, should be ready for such transformations. But if you practice Kriya Yoga, you understand what is happening when transformation is taking place. You understand the whole process and agree with it. Besides, this understanding is accompanied with the feeling of joy. Some events can distress your ego, but these events would have happened or will happen in any case. A person who is practicing Kriya knows why these or those events are happening. He has understanding. I don't know anyone who doesn't understand. Moreover, people who have been to a seminar get rid of hard karma. Thanks to the knowledge they get at a seminar, thanks to their internal work, people develop, opening their hearts and minds, and the universe helps them to get rid of their heavy burden. Then, if something negative happens, the effect of this event won't be as painful as before. I don't say now that if you don't come to a seminar, you will have problems. You had problems before, and you will have them in the future. But if you come to a seminar, you'll get knowledge and will understand how to solve these problems, how to work with them. You won't be as helpless as the blind kittens who don't know what's happening and where to move to. If you're seeking awareness, you should know that awareness demands understanding and perseverance. If you want to live an ordinary life and say, I'd better not step there, be sure that, anyway, you'll be given a push and thrown just there. Don't you know the expression, if everything is fine with you, you don't exist anymore? They say that a true God-realized master of yoga, or master of Kriya, can partly take the actualization of his students' karma upon himself. Is that really so, if you come to a seminar? A master is an embodiment of compassion and unconditional love. But it doesn't mean that, on the outside, he loves everyone in a way people are used to. Sometimes his love can be rather strict and, from an egoistic point of view, even inhuman and unkind. A master knows his disciple inside out and plays with the disciple's ego. He does it with the consent of this person, because the disciple understands that there aren't any other ways to work with his ego. A master is someone who gives compassion and takes the most part of his disciple's burden upon himself. Firstly, a master knows how to work with it. Secondly, he understands that all the people coming to him are parts of the Supreme. They are jivas, or carriers of souls. These people need awakening and want to realize this process. Such souls always come to a master with aspiration, and they shouldn't go away with unfulfilled expectations. So a master gives them inspiration and takes away their burden. This is a law. Masters have to burn this karma through, but they don't do it openly in front of everyone. It is usually done so that nobody could know. Doing this, masters use specific knowledge. Novices who want to become familiar with spiritual practice sometimes face with one more concern. It is fear of initiation. They have a feeling that initiation might result in their entering to some egregore. Novices are afraid that they will have to take some special responsibility, and, by and large, this entering can lead to unintended consequences. Is that really so? Ego doesn't like to take a responsibility. It wants to do all it can wish for. You should know that your fear of initiation doesn't mean that you haven't been initiated. You get an initiation every day when you're watching TV advertising, when you look at something or hear someone's words. There are lots of stereotypes and shibboleths in our life. Every time you're facing with a shibboleth, you get an initiation. This is a process of forming people's consciousness, encoding people, which occurs again and again. Nowadays, it is a great source of people's trouble. If you want to neutralize these programs, you should get a spiritual initiation and take a responsibility for yourself, for your own life, and for the lives of your loved ones. When you're practicing, your consciousness is being transformed, and you learn to avoid the power of this matrix principle, escaping the global encoding. You are in a dream, and you have to experience uncontrolled feelings which bring pleasant or unpleasant states of consciousness. Often this dream looks like a nightmare, and the only salvation from this nightmare is to wake up. If you don't awake properly, you won't come out of this dream. So you're initiated every time and everywhere, whether you want it or not. For example, a mother says to her child, "This is," and pronounces a word. This is nothing else but initiation. The mother has initiated her child into something that doesn't accord with a shibboleth given to it. You have given a name, a shibboleth, to something and imprinted this symbol into your child's consciousness. So the child has got into the system of beliefs. Being in this system, a child starts forming his or her personality. This process happens routinely. Actually, everything is different because our world is a delusion. But how can we explain it now to an ordinary man? There are outward initiations, when a person comes to a seminar and gets a conversion and an initiation. A conversion is a blessing, and an initiation is a transfer of knowledge. In other words, an initiation into spiritual technique. There also can be an inward initiation and an inward conversion. They take place without laying on of hands or any other religious paraphernalia. During such inward initiation, a master transfers God's grace in a very simple and natural way. At this moment, a master, being in a state of peace and harmony, sends over powerful emanations, transferring grace. All the people who are with a master at this moment feel this grace. Some spiritual practices include meditative music, gong, incense sticks, shimmer. Does Kriya practice require the same things? No, they are not necessary. When you close your eyes, raise them, and your consciousness goes deep inside. You create a tendency to switch your five senses off. Serious practice of meditation implies transcendency beyond mind. A real meditation occurs as a result of such transcendency. If you use music, incense sticks, and so on, you'll stay in the outer world. The connection with the outer world won't be cut off, and you won't be able to enter a meditation. You'll reach a quiet state of relaxation and contemplation, but it won't be a meditation. Meditation is a state which implies switching the five senses off. Scientific concentration, practiced in Kriya, helps to acquire such a state when you stop, see and hear the outer world. This is a true meditation. All the other things, like the ones you've mentioned, will lead you astray, so they are not necessary.